when you're not telling the truth and you cannot explain yourself in a way that isn't sinister, then you have to lie. And if you lie, especially in this situation, then your lies better be pretty damn bloody good, and you better be pretty damn bloody bright. And unfortunately for him, neither of those is true. And therefore, it's clear that he has no defense from what he's accused of. I mean, once we are into situations where the defense from having sex with an underage girl is not sweating, not going out in London without a shirt and tie, and going to a pizza restaurant, I mean, it's crazy. And that's an interesting point, which some people have made. These people don't go anywhere in public without a security operation, which logs the movements. So if Prince Andrew can account for his movements to prove that what's said is not true, then in that BBC interview, he would have said, well, just hold on a second. Here's the logs. But of course he didn't, because they're not there. And we saw the Queen, apparently Prince Charles, as well. Maybe he got advised by Jimmy Savile, from the Great Beyond, the Great Beyond, to cut Andrew off, gone, no more royal duties. And that was an attempt to stop a domino falling and start smacking the whole row of them down until we get deep into what the royal family is really involved in, and how it connects into the same web that basically was responsible for 9/11. Not saying the royal family were involved in that, but the web they're connected to absolutely was. And so it's an attempt to stop the hemorrhage. And of course, what the media do is they'll go so far, usually overwhelmingly, and then they'll stop. I do feel that if this continues to gain momentum, it's one of the biggest threats to the royal family in a very, very long time, because so much is there to come out.
I'd like to explore this a bit more, but one of the things that you raised was the visit to the Pizza Express in Woking. So we were there earlier this week, and we filmed in there. And Andrew said, couldn't possibly have been with the alleged victim because I was at Pizza Express in Woking at 5 p.m. Well, Pizza Express in Woking closes at 10:30.
Exactly.
10:30 is when Tramps opens.
Yeah, that's exactly the point I made myself on my website. The time he's saying he was there was not the time he was supposed to be at Tramps. So there's desperation, big time, written all over it. So he's in desperate trouble, and because he is, this is why the royal family are trying to cut and run and hope it will go away. But, I've just mentioned it. You can, because the media do, mainstream media, but you cannot take the Andrew situation with Epstein in isolation from the royal family, Prince Charles in particular, connection to Jimmy Savile. So just let's take a breath and look at it again. We have a single family operating out of London, and somehow one of them gets involved with a major paedophile and procurer of children for the rich and famous in the United States and further afield. And another one gets involved for decades as a close friend of Jimmy Savile in this country, who was a historic level paedophile and procurer of children for the rich and famous. Just a coincidence, nothing to worry about. Are you having a laugh? But this is the whole thing, Just look. I mean, Savile was an inner bosom buddy of the inner circle of the royal family for decades, brought in there this is another coincidence, by the way, nothing to worry about. In the 1960s, in his own words, by Lord Mountbatten, who I've been pointing out for a long time was a paedophile. And of course, this year a book came out using information from Freedom of Information requests to the FBI, where at the FBI documents we're talking about Mountbatten being a paedophile. So a paedophile takes a historic paedophile into the royal family, becomes a decades-long friend of Prince Charles, and the same family then have another brother, Prince Andrew, who gets involved in one of the most high-profile paedophiles and procurers of children in America. And we're supposed to think this is all a coincidence. What it does is take us further down the road to what I've been saying in my book since the 1990s, which is the royal family are big time into paedophile rings and into satanic rings, and they connect for reasons I explain in the books. So it's like you're on the cusp. You're on the cusp, or another analogy, the finger's in the dike, but it's starting to rumble, and we'll see if it comes down. But if it does, and the real truth comes out, then the royal family will be no more.
So Prince Andrew has been isolated now, according to the tabloids, by Prince Charles and Prince Philip. They've put their foot down on him.
Oh, yeah.
Kicked him out the palace.
Oh, of course, they would want to.
Is he finished, Andrew?
I can't see how we can recover from this. Once you have cut somebody off in terms of royal duties because he can't explain a relationship with a horrific paedophile and procurer of children and trafficker of children, unless at some point he can say, here's the proof, I didn't know anything about it, which ain't going to come. I can't see how you can justify saying, okay, it's long enough now, come back. Because I don't think people would have it.
Do you think it's possible that they will give Andrew a pass? Because I noticed that Trump and the Queen are about to meet. So this could be some kind of power play by Trump.
Yeah, and also, as I was reading recently, Barr's come out and said all those inconsistencies regarding the death of Epstein, they were just a series of basically, things that just happened, and it was just not a conspiracy. So that don't give you a lot of confidence, does it? And the other thing is, you see, which relates to this, what has been done in terms of the Queen cutting off Andrew is kind of presented as the Queen acting decisively because of things that Andrew was possibly involved in and all that stuff. In other words, the Queen kind of cares. You mustn't have done this. You shouldn't have done this and all this stuff. No. What she's saying is, Andrew, you shouldn't have got caught, right? Which is a very different thing. Because you'll remember that recently an ABC television anchor, what we call a presenter or news presenter, was on a live mic being filmed, but it wasn't for air. She was talking to people in the gallery, I think. And it was leaked to Project Veritas. And she described that she had the Epstein story 3 years earlier. And she had Clinton, she had Prince Andrew and all this. And ABC wouldn't air it. And one of the reasons, she says in this leaked video, was threats from the royal family. So the royal family couldn't give a damn about abused kids. They give a damn about getting caught being involved with them. And so the whole royal farce is just it's in your face, but people just, certainly the media won't go far enough for the whole house of cards to come down. And even on another level, we're heading towards 2020, and we have a situation in Britain and Commonwealth countries too, Canada and Australia, New Zealand, where the head of state is chosen from a single family, i.e. bloodline, that very short time ago came out of Germany, and the succession of who becomes head of state is decided by who had sex with who in what order. I mean, hello. If British people or the nation as a whole wants to have any self-respect, that has to stop. I mean, you have sports teams and crowds and all these different occasions where people are singing the national anthem, but it's not. It's not an anthem to the country. It's an anthem to a woman, to a monarch, in which they actually demand in this anthem to be reigned over by this woman. And, it's insane. It's absolute madness. And that's if they were the nicest family in human history. Given that they are not quite that, to say the very least, it makes it even more crazy that we have this whole institution, which is vampiring money off the population while kids go to bed hungry in this country.